Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. Today I have a fun customized zipper pull slash charm project for you. Every time I post a bag with a zipper pull on it, I get asked, how did I make it? So I thought I would come up with something that you could make with the Cricut, for those of you who have the Cricut Maker and the etching tool. And this is a really simple way to create some very cute customized bag tags, zipper pulls, charms, charm bracelets, tags for backpacks, all kinds of personalized charms. And it's relatively pretty easy. All you need is your Cricut Maker and the engraving tool and the tags, and you're ready to go. So let's get started and I'll show you how it's done. So here we are in Cricut Design Space. I have mine zoomed up to about 400%, and I'm doing that by clicking right down here in the lower left corner and clicking the plus button. So I'm at 400% just so that you can see it a little bit easier. Now for this particular project, we're working with a 1-inch charm. So I'm really only concerned about these inch size boxes. So just to make things a little bit easier for you to see, I'm just going to click right up here between the two zeros on the X and Y axis. Right here in that little blank box, if you click it once, that gets rid of those 1/4 inch marks. If you want to work on a plain canvas without any grid marks, you can click it one more time and that will take away the 1-inch marks. But I want to leave those 1-inch marks in place just to give you a little bit of an idea of the proportion that we're working with. So I'm using a round tag, and I will have those linked in the description below the video. But in order to represent that round tag, I'm just going to click right here on shapes, and I'm going to grab a circle. And here you can see I have a circle, and it comes in by default at 3.11 inch by 3.11 inch circle. So we want to change that to a 1-inch circle. You want to make sure that this lock right here is in the lock position. If it's not, if it looks like that, just click it right here, or you can click it right up here in between the width and height. But make sure it's in that lock position. And then we're just going to highlight that 3.11 and change that to 1.0. Click our tab key. That will automatically change the height to 1.0. So now we have a perfect 1-inch circle. And you can see if I fit that right inside one of my grid boxes that are each 1 inch, you can see that it is in fact a 1-inch circle. So in order to make this a little bit easier to see, I'm just going to click on this circle, and then I'm going to click right up here in the little color box that's right next to the line type box. Click on that, and I'm just going to change that to white. This is just going to represent my charm. It's just a template for me to work with. Now I don't want the Cricut to do anything to this charm or to this circle, so I'm just going to play a little mind game with the Cricut, and I'm just going to tell it that I'm going to have it draw the circle, but I'm not really going to put a pen in my Cricut whatsoever. So we've got our circle. This is going to represent our little 1-inch tag. So now what we need to do is add our design. And so I'm just going to go over to images, and I have uploaded my logo. So I'm just going to type in logo. That's what I called it when I uploaded it. And I'm going to filter on uploaded. So I just click the filter right here, and I'm going to click the uploaded button, and there's my logo that I'm going to use. So I'm going to insert images. And that's going to come in really big. So let's first click on the logo. And again, I'm leaving that lock in the lock position. And I'm just going to change this to 0.75 inches. I just want it to be small enough that I can work with it. All right, so my logo comes in several different layers. So I really only want this one layer. So I'm going to get rid of this layer. I'm going to get rid of this layer. And I'm going to get rid of this layer. And I'm just turning the eye off by clicking on it. So this is the logo. This is what I want engraved. So the first thing I'm going to do while it's selected is I'm going to go up here to line type, and I'm going to click on where it says cut, a little drop down arrow, and I'm going to change that to engrave. We're going to be engraving this logo. So now I want this logo to be centered right in the center of the circle. So I'm going to select both. And if you go up here to the align button right here, you have several options. You can align left, center horizontally, center vertically. But if you click right here on center, this will center both horizontally and vertically in one step. So you don't need to horizontally center and then vertically center. Just click center and that will center the two of those. Now my little charm has a little hole right up here. So I think I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. And that's giving me some room there. So again, I'm going to select both, hit align, center. And I think I'm going to click on her one more time and just move her down just a little bit. I'd rather have it closer to the bottom than the top just to make room for that hole, but I don't want it all the way to the edge. So that looks great. Now, if I were to send this to Make-It right now, what it would do is put this image on one mat and put my circle on another mat. And that's not at all what I want. So I want to select both, and I'm just clicking and dragging a box over them. Alternatively, you could click over here and click the layer panel, hold, this is the logo layer, hold my shift key and select my circle layer, and now they're both selected as well. You can do it either way. I like to kind of just click and drag. And then I'm going to right click inside that selection and I'm going to click attach. Alternatively, you could select attach right down here. Now, since I've already attached it, you see detach, but you can select it here or right click and choose your commands. I prefer to right click. I just think it's a little bit smoother of a workflow. So if I were to click Make It right now, let's click Make It. You can see I have my design and it's on one mat and it's both drawing and engraving on that same mat. So I'm going to cancel and I'm just going to, I'm just going to cancel. I'm just going to go back here and I'm going to create one more charm. We might as well do two of these at once. So let's just go ahead and grab another circle and I'm just going to walk through everything one more time for you. So again, we're making sure that lock is in the lock position. We're checking it there or checking it right here. And we're just going to change that to 1.0. Click tab. We're going to click on the color. Change it to white, and that's just so that we can see what we're working with. So now I want to put some text on this one. So this time we're going to click the text button and I'm going to put hashtag create. And that's what I'm going to have engraved on this particular tag. So I'm going to use this lower right arrow key and just size that down. And I'm going to try to fit that in my circle. And again, I'm going to select both. Click align, center. Now that's perfectly centered in the tag. I want to click on this create and I can click it here or I can click it over here in my text layer over here. And I want to change that line type to engrave. So now it's going to engrave that on there. So I'm going to select both, right click, attach. All right, so let's go ahead and make this. We're going to click Make It. And just to make this easy, I am going to put these down here in the squares on the lower left corner right here. And I'm going to put one in the second square and one in the fourth square. And I'm just basically eyeballing it. So I'm just going to center those right here in one square up and one square from the bottom. And the reason I'm doing it right here is this corner up here and this corner right here are the ones that get used the most. So I want to make sure these aren't going to move on my mat. So I'm going to put it in this corner and that's where we're going to cut it from. So I'm going to click continue. I'm going to select my Cricut Maker. And again, you can only use the engraving tool with the Cricut Maker. You want to make sure that you don't have anything up here that says cut or it's not going to let you do it. So you want to make sure that you have draw and engrave when you're working with the metals. Okay, so now I need to set my materials. So what I'm going to do is click Browse All Materials, and I'm going to leave this compatible clicked right here. And if you scroll down, you will see that down here under the other section, there is a metal 40 gauge thin copper. That's what I'm going to choose for right now. And I'm going to click done. So it's telling me that I need to load a black pen in clamp A. We're not really going to draw, so I'm not going to put a pen in there whatsoever. the Cricut will not know that I didn't put a pin in there. So it's still going to go through the motion, but it's not going to draw on anything. And then it's telling me to load my engraving tip. Make sure your tip has number 41 on it, just like it's shown here, to make sure that you have the correct tip. And then I'm going to load the mat and press the C button. So the first thing we're going to do is put this on our purple mat, and I am going to flip the camera over and show you how I am doing that. On a strong grip mat, which is the purple Cricut mats that says strong grip right up here on the top if you're not sure. Now, if you remember on our screen, we told the Cricut that we were going to put it in the second and fourth squares from the bottom left corner. So 1 row up, 2 in, 1 row up, 4 in. So these are my blanks, and again, I will have these linked in the description below the video, but these are just anodized metal blanks, and I'm going to place one of them right here in the second square, 1 row up, and one of them in the fourth square, 1 row up, and I'm doing my best to center them so that that hole is in the top so that the design will be straight. And actually, I think what I'm going to do is, just to be sure, I'm going to move it up just a hair, just to make sure that it clears that hole. So I'm just going to move it up a hair from being center, just like that. Now, when you use these or get these, I wanted to point this out. They have a metal or a plastic protective sheet that keeps them from getting scratched during a shipment. So you'll want to make sure you remove that before, and it's on the front and the back. So make sure you remove that clear coat before you start to engrave. Now, the other pieces that I have here are 2 circle rings. You could just use this and attach this directly to whatever you're going to do. I chose to put a circle ring on each and a clamp on each, so that's up to you. But back to our mat, let's go ahead and secure these, and I'm just using some purple tape. This is by ThermoWeb, and I am just going to go right on the top. I want to make sure that I leave room for my engraved design, so I'm trying to leave that center part open, but I just want to make sure that this does not move. Now, this is a really sticky mat. It's still pretty new, so I'm not too concerned about it moving, but if you're using an older mat, you might want to put even more tape on it. So we're just going to secure that down. And just like so. So I'm just checking it, making sure that those aren't going to wiggle at all. They're not. Those are very secure. So we're going to take these over to the Cricut and go ahead and start our engraving process. Okay, and just like that, we have our designs engraved. So I'm just going to remove the tape. So here I am over at my Cricut Maker, and you can see I have the mat loaded so that these are in the lower left. So all I'm going to do is click the C button. I have the engraving tip in and I have no pin in. So we're just going to click the C button and let the Cricut do its thing. Now remember, it asked me to put the black pin in. There's no pin in there, so it thinks it's drawing, but there's no pin in there. So I can just kind of eyeball it and watch and make sure that it is going where I want it to. Now it's going to check that I have that engraving tip in. And I do. So it's going to go ahead and engrave my design. Okay, and just like that, we have our designs engraved. So I'm just going to remove the tape. And my design. They're a little bit hard to show on camera, but they did turn out really cute, and it's a great way to personalize some zipper pulls or charms, or, you know, like I said, I could see these hanging on the side of a bag, on a necklace, on a bracelet, to label your kid's backpack, all kinds of things. A lot of fun, really easy. I do have all of the products used linked in the description below the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, please like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to click that bell so that you're notified every time there is a new video. And until next time, never stop making. See you guys. Bye-bye.